Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Good day? All right. All right. So thank you for joining us today for Future Forward. For those of you who don't know, we are Canada's largest software company. This is the first year that we're bringing our big user conference home to Toronto, and it's very exciting for us. We're a Canadian company, and we're present in 130 different countries around the world, 120,000 customers. And it's truly an extraordinary opportunity for us to be able to do this event here in Canada. And the Future Forward track is an opportunity for us to tell you a little bit about what we do, because we'd love to have everybody come work for us. Great opportunity for us to get engaged. So I hope you get something out of the day, because we're going to learn about technology, digital careers. I know we've got a great lineup of guest speakers, and we want to share some of that with you. So I'd like to thank all of you for coming to join us and take your time. I know we've had a little, there were some hiccups with the bus service, as the 401 typically does, so I think we've got some more people on their way down right now. Should fill up as the morning progresses. And thank you to all of the schools for helping OpenText to engage with you and get the message out and put together a great program and a great agenda for today. And in particular, a huge thank you to the University of Waterloo, who is not only a dear friend of OpenText, but OpenText is a spin-off of the University of Waterloo. We were actually founded for this audience way back on a project called the Oxford English Dictionary. There were no search engines at the time. This goes back to the Dewey Decimal System. You go and get your index cards at the library and you find out where the book is, you go to the shelf. And a professor named Frank Tompa thought, wouldn't it be great if we could do this electronically and be able to search or digitize the Oxford English Dictionary? And that project was actually the origin of OpenText, and we were a spin-off again of the UW. We started 26 years ago as a business, and are now very proud to be Canada's largest software company. We may be not as well known in Canada as we should be. Our business is international across the world. We do a lot of business in Canada, but we're looking to change that by branding ourselves a little bit more in our home country and contributing back and doing events like this more regularly in Canada as well. So thank you to the schools for their support, and thank you to all of you for choosing to spend your day here with us today, and I hope you get something very valuable out of it. I'm going to share a little bit about my career journey. I hope it's of interest, but as a marketing officer, if you give me a microphone, I'm going to talk, and wanted to share a little bit about what my path was like. And it will be different for everybody. It'll be different for everybody, but hope there's some value in my sharing that with you today. I actually started working with a professor at the University of Waterloo in a high school co-op position. His name was Professor Paul Beam. He was an English professor who had a business doing technical writing software. So this goes way back to SGML for the technologists in the room. And it was an English technical writing course, and we would use SGML to process papers and submissions and technical writing material. And it was very new technology at the time. And I engaged with that company as a high school co-op. I was about 15 years old, and had the opportunity to work with Paul for a couple of years. And I always loved computers and technology, and I wrote code. I was a developer. I've run engineering at OpenText in addition to marketing, which may be a contradiction in terms, but there you have it. And you know, I think even in marketing fields and business fields, it's good to be close to technology, even if you're not writing code, to be cognizant of what technologies are capable of. How they're used, whether that's in digital marketing or in business, running a campaign. Maybe it's in analytics around a business if you're pursuing an MBA. But being close to technology, no matter your role, is very important and is becoming more and more important. And that's probably, you know, dial tone service for those in this room. The internet has always existed. It has always been on. You know, smartphones. You think back in 2008, which is 9 short years ago, there were no smartphones in the way that they exist today. And in the course of 8 short years, some 5 billion of the 7 billion people on the planet are now connected online via those devices. And I think that all started with the iPhone and the proliferation of those smart devices. So after 2 years with Professor Beam at the University of Waterloo in my high school career, if you will, I started thinking to myself, you know, I could probably do this on my own. I could do a little technology company on my own. And I started one, and we built web front ends for financial systems like Navision, for those of you familiar with Navision financials. And this was, you know, sort of the dawn of the internet era, and that was really high-tech stuff there, just to be able to put in a little sales order form and submit it via the internet to the financial system. That was pretty great. Did that for 2 years, and then I sold the company. And I was going to take a year off and go backpacking through Europe. I had all these wild ideas. And a friend of mine's father at the time said, "This is probably a bad idea. You're going to take off and go spend a year. You should go to school, or you should start working, or take a shorter time and really think about what you want to do. Because what seems appealing to you now, will it seem appealing to you at 30, 40, 50? So I said, okay, well, I have to think about some ideas. And he said, well, I'm working at a small company in Waterloo. It's called OpenText. We're about 300 people at the time. This was 16 years ago. Why don't you come on work for me and see how it goes? We'll do 6 months or a year. If you like it, stay, grow your career. If you don't, go to Europe, do your thing. Okay, sounds like a good idea. So I spoke to my father. He agreed that that was a good idea. And I started with OpenText. And that was 16 years ago. And since that time, I had the opportunity, so I had no post-secondary education at the time. I started in IT technical support. So I was fixing computers. Things would break, I'd take the service ticket, go help people out. We'd do all manner of networking, even punching telephone lines into BIX boards at the time. So it wasn't VoIP, it wasn't an electronic system. We would literally get the wires out in a punch tool and punch it into the card on the wall. And had the opportunity to progress from there, to work on merger and acquisition technical prototyping, to work in our partner marketing organization, to do product management at the company. And part of that was being comfortable with discomfort. And that may be a nugget of career advice. If there's one thing you take away, it's that. Be comfortable with discomfort, to try new things. And as opportunities present themselves, if you're passionate about it, if you enjoy it, if you think you'll have a good opportunity with it, take the opportunity, pursue it. And no matter at what stage you're at in your career, if you're just coming out of school, you've worked towards a degree in a particular discipline, an opportunity that appeals to you, that you're passionate about, presents itself, but it's not directly aligned with that, think about pursuing it, because that's often how opportunity presents itself. And I forget the origin of the quote, but most people miss opportunity because it shows up in overalls and it looks like hard work. But to have that flexibility and to be able to make that shift and to be comfortable with discomfort and take those opportunities as they arrive, and be willing to continually learn and to be willing to go back as you take on those new projects. Since that time, I've gone back, in fact, to the University of Waterloo for a certificate in project management, and went to the Canadian Forces College for a diploma there, which was a pretty extraordinary experience with some of our country's best to have had that opportunity. And as I said, then progressed through product management and into engineering, and ultimately into the C-suite as the Chief Marketing Officer at OpenText, which has been an extraordinary journey for me. I've been very fortunate. But in order to accomplish that within a single company over the course of 16 years, had to be willing to take risks in my career, and had to be willing to take on tasks that I may not have been trained in, that I may not have had experience with, but to dive in. And our CEO says it very well. I'll quote him here, that I know I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm willing to do my best to be the best student and to learn whatever the new task may be. So if I could encourage everybody, and I could leave you with a tidbit of advice there, it would be to pursue those opportunities and to be relentless and to pursue things that you're passionate about, and to be comfortable taking risks and to be comfortable trying new things and learning new skills, even if that requires later on going back for additional education to seek that opportunity. So very happy to be able to share that with you today, and I think myself and the team will be around the conference all day if we get a chance to bump into each other. I hope I get to meet some of you as well. But again, would like to thank you for joining us here. You're going to have a jam-packed day. We've got some extraordinary events here, and I think the agenda is going to get you through a lot of those to give you some exposure to what OpenText does. We've got 5 internships that we're putting up as part of the Future Forward track that are guaranteed, and of course we want to meet with you. We want to see CVs from all of you. We'd love to have the best work with us at OpenText, so very excited to have you all here, and hope that you engage with myself and the other OpenText staff at the event, as well as with your peers, to learn, to share, to network, which is also a very important aspect of how you may advance or develop a career, is to ensure that you have a good network and that you're staying in touch with and communicating with people, whether that's in private sector or academia or within your peer group. Another very key point. But we hope that today's agenda will give you some opportunity to do just that.